Hey everyone, welcome back to Path of Exile, and in today's content we're gonna talk about my Impaling champion archer. In this video we're gonna go through his gear, and at the end of it I'll show you a Cortex fight, Elder and Sirus on Awakener level 7, because that's the gameplay that I've currently got. So if you are new around here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, a rating and a comment helps spread the video to the masses. Again, as the last few videos, you can skip the commentary portion and jump straight into the gameplay by following the timestamp that I'm gonna put on screen right now and on the description below or in the comments below. So with all of that gibberish said, let's actually start this commentary by talking about the character's gear, and for that the first thing is the bow. This bow was crafted by myself, and I did so by synthesizing the bow attacks, fire and additional arrow, and from there on out spamming essences of contempt, deafening essences of contempt, until I got the increased fist damage and accuracy rating hybrid. From there on out I crafted the crit chance and the attack speed with the garden, and finally the increased fist damage thanks to the crafting table. Personally, if you're gonna play a similar character to this, I advise using an item level of higher item level, because mine, for example, is getting severely limited by that item level. At the end of the day, the increased fist damage and accuracy hybrid is pretty low, and I don't think I can comfortably hit something higher without investing even more currency into gambling the crafting portion of this weapon. So at the end of the day, try to go for something with a high item level, try to get the additional arrows as synthesized implicit, because crafting this without those additional arrows is gonna be a pain in the ass. So at the end of the day, try to get something better than this, but if you can't, something as close to this is more than enough. Moving on to the gear of the character, we are using the astral plate that the last character was using, and that is because it has life, chaos res, frenzy charge on hit, and enemies you kill explode, but also because we're playing as a champion that is using fortify or permanent fortify in this case, and getting armor and evasion while he has fortify, but also because getting dodge notes in the tree is an additional 6-point investment, and I'd rather be using those points in DPS, since at the end of the day I'm investing in this side of the tree, and that means iron reflexes is a closer thing to get instead of going all the way over here. And because of that, I decided to also use this astral plate, because, you know, we have no evasion at the end of the day. So yeah, since we're playing with split arrow, and by doing a little gem swap we enter our single target setup, this means that we want a helmet that has split arrow fires additional projectiles, alongside life, cold res, chaos res and global accuracy rating. You're gonna notice that a lot of my gear has chaos res, and that is in part thanks to chaos resistance being so quote-unquote cheap thanks to the garden, but also because since we're gonna be taking all of the damage at face value because we have no damage evasion mechanics, that means that we probably want as much chaos resistance, if not cap that chaos resistance, so that we can avoid getting absolutely melted by chaos damage, which seems to be rather frequent nowadays. We're also using a lot of gear that has intelligence on it, because we're using Arcane Cloak at level 20, which requires 155 intelligence, and we're doing this because we're gonna link it to Blood Magic and Empower, and thanks to the champion's node of first to strike and last to fall, we get adrenaline for 20 seconds when we reach low life, and by doing that Arcane Cloak setup, by just tapping it once, we get to hit that life threshold, which is triggering adrenaline for relative cheap. Now, since we're also using Call to Arms, which is making War Cries instant, and since we're using Enduring Cry as our first skill on our left click, that means that whenever we move, we're gonna trigger Enduring Cry. So we get to trigger Arcane Cloak and then move once, and we recover the life that we lost while we trigger Arcane Cloak, and that gives us 20 seconds of adrenaline and endurance charge, and by moving around we keep generating endurance charges, and the next time adrenaline is offline we can trigger it again by using Arcane Cloak again, which is gonna be an instant thing. So that is the way to trigger adrenaline in this character, and as far as I'm concerned, I've seen some people who claim that this gives them an aneurysm because they play on hardcore, and doing that is more of a death sentence. But at the end of the day, we're playing on softcore and having fun is the priority. So yeah, moving on to the stuff. We're using an amulet that has intelligence, fizz damage to attacks, crit chance, life, fire resistance, chaos resistance, and negative mana cost of skills. Since we're using a Circle of Guild, that means that we do not get, you know, a rare ring that we can modify ourselves, which means both the ring and the amulet that are not unique require the negative mana cost of skills to keep this skill as cheap as possible, since you've already noticed that we've got like 95% of our mana reserved. So yeah. At the same time, we're also allocating Assassination on the amulet for the crit multi and increased crit chance. Moving on to that very ring that is not unique, we've got life, accuracy, crit multi, fizz damage, vulnerability, the negative mana cost of skills, and resistances as the base. I recommend getting something as close, if not better, to this, because... just because really. At the end of the day, we're trying to maximize the damage, and this little ring over here is giving us a hefty chunk of damage enabling modifiers. As for the other ring, we're using a Circle of Guild, which has increased fizz damage while affected by Herald of Purity buff effect, and as many attributes as possible, you know, just to hit that intelligence requirement of Arcane Cloak. Also try to get a base, or rather an item that has useful implicits, because while there are cheaper options that mine online, something that has useless implicits might as well be useless. Nah, it's not useless, but try to get something that's, you know, competent. The Quiver is a Warlord influenced quiver with life, fizz damage to attacks, crit chance, a resist, bow attacks fire an additional arrow, and strength and intelligence. Shaper quivers can also roll the additional arrow, but we want the strength and intelligence not only for Arcane Cloak, but since we're also using Iron Grip, that is a little bit of a strength, which is also giving us a little bit of damage. Moving on to the gloves, they are gripped gloves with life, accuracy, resistances, and I crafted damage during any flask effect. And the reason as to why is because the belt is Elder influenced, and Elder influenced Stygian Vice, with increased projectile damage during any flask effect, so both of them synergize. But at the same time, my belt I crafted myself, using the Garden. I chaos spam until I got the projectile attack damage, the chaos res, and the lightning res, and from there on out I used the Garden to get the global fizz, the increased maximum life, and the flat life. Try to craft it yourself, do not trade for one, because similar belts to this are pretty expensive, and at the end of the day this is a crafting league, and getting your own stuff does not beat the sense of pride and an accomplishment of achieving that instead of trading, or something like that. Anyways, the jewel has attributes, life, and fizz damage to bow attacks, because at the end of the day we want as much intelligence as possible. So yeah. Finally, the boots have life, resistances, and movement speed alongside tailwind. We want tailwind because since we do not get any other sort of damage enabling modifier, it is a pretty nice buff, but also because getting tailwind is a pretty cheap thing nowadays if you know how to craft them. For flasks, we're using a silver flask, a dying sun, and a diamond flask of warding. The warding is not that specific, we just want a diamond flask. If you were to get onslaught somewhere else, maybe a corrupted implicit on the bow, you drop this and get a sulfur flask or a what is it called? Bottle Faith for the DPS. So yeah, quickly going over the tree, we're using a Watcher side that has crit multi while affected by precision, since we're using a low level precision just for that crit multi. We're using two large cluster jewel setups, one of which has Drive the Destruction, Fuel the Fight, and Smite the Weak, Drive the Destruction for Life Leech, Fuel the Fight for Mana Leech, and Smite the Weak for damage against maimed enemies. We are maiming them thanks to maim support and some maim chance over here. One of the cluster jewels, the medium cluster jewels, has Basics of Pain and Quick Getaway, for crit chance stuff. The other one has Eye to Eye and Repeater, which is gonna give us attack speed and projectile damage, but also projectile damage while nearby enemies. The other cluster jewel has Exploit Weakness, Master the Fundamentals, and whatever irrelevant node you can get as the third one, so that you can avoid investing into it and only take 5 points into this cluster jewel. My other two jewels are actually wrong. We shouldn't be using Streamline here, we should be using Repeater. I have to change that still, but we want Eye to Eye as a mandatory modifier on both of these guys. Finally, the jewels have Life and Crit Multi. Most of them, one of them or two of them at least, have attributes, again because we want that intelligence requirement threshold thingy. But yeah, we want Life, Crit Multi, and if possible 3 attributes. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the 3 portion of the video. Self-explanatory really. We go for the bow stuff over here, crit chance over here, crit chance with bows, more life, impale stuff over here, fortify, and your cluster jewels, and that's pretty much it. For bandits we went with Alira because at the end of the day this is a crit character, and that modifier that gives us by allying ourselves with Alira is too good to pass up. Finally, we are gonna go over the gem setups, which are Split Arrow, linked to Vicious Paretals, Impale, Maim, Brutality, and for single target we swap Pierce for Barrage support. For auras we've got War Banner, Herald of Purity, Skitterbots for the Skitterbot that shocks enemies guaranteed, and a low level Precision alongside Affliction Stone. All of these auras are linked to Enlighten, which is why this mana reservation is so disgusting expensive. Besides that, we use a dash, a decoy totem, an ice golem, and the Val Haste, and also the Arcane Cloak setup. So that's gonna be it for this character. The conclusion of it will come on the next video, but for now I got some gameplay that I'm gonna claim that you guys are gonna really enjoy, especially that Cortex boss fight. It's beautiful, that Cortex boss fight. You're gonna really like it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Expect a follow-up later down this week, and from there on out I'm gonna preemptively say that the next build is gonna be something with the Savior. I'm not 100% just yet, but yeah. So if you enjoyed the content today, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, a rating and a comment help spread the video and also show support to me, or something like that. And with all of that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a nice start of your week, and peace out.
Designs were flawed. Do you